Well, welcome everybody. This is Career Lab Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday, noon to 1 p.m. Central. And our goal is to help you in your career. So we always have a topic, but we invite any questions that are career related. So whether you're starting off in your career, interviewing, you're kind of in your first times, or if you've been at a company for many years and you're wanting to try something else or improve in your current position or get to the next one. We invite everything career related. What matters to us is what is most on your heart. So with that being said, I want to invite anybody to jump in and share, ask us questions. There's a few ways you can do that. One is we love it when you come on Zoom. Good morning, Joel. Good to see you again. And actually it's afternoon for me here. I'm on the East Coast this week. What you can do is jump in on Zoom. That's Dr. Medlock and my favorite way for you to be with us, so we can work with you directly. If you're not able to and you're joining us on LinkedIn Live and you're viewing in, type your questions into the comment section and Jane Coletto will get those over to us here in the chat and we'll do our best to answer those questions. So welcome back. Good to see many familiar faces and familiar names. We've got Gina. Hello, good to see you again. Welcome back.
Okay.
And Hadis, welcome. Joel, welcome again. Natalia, Sherry, Kyle, Eric, welcome. Sergi, welcome. So I'll do another quick introduction. A reminder, you can join in the way many of you are doing and ask us questions that you have. Our job is to support you in your career. So anything that you're working on. And if you want, you can also type your questions into the comments section on LinkedIn Live or into the chat room here. So I don't know, Dr. Medlock, as people are still kind of joining in, is there anything that you'd like to say about the importance of emotions in the workplace?
Well, you know, it's always interesting to me when they talk about hard versus soft skills. It always sounds like hard skills are really good and soft skills are like, you know, these sort of fluffy things. You know, the truth is that finding a job, being a good employee, advancing in your career, becoming a leader is all about what they call soft skills. In other words, it's your social and emotional intelligence that really makes the difference. And there's just tons of data in it. And yet there's a huge bias in American culture and in business. It's probably not just American, it's Western, toward quantification and technical skill and kind of the task focus as opposed to the relational focus. And you can see how it plays out. We're terrible at managing relationships at a cultural level. We do not have social emotional intelligence. It's clear our entire Congress lacks social emotional intelligence. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't get political here. So I'm not going to go there. But I will say that in a job interview, it is the critical factor. I mean, part of it is we're talking about being present to yourself and what's going on with you and with the other person in the interaction. That's really the foundation of it all. So it's knowing what you're feeling, how's it going, what's the rapport like, how are they reacting to what you're saying? Do they look like they're being defensive? Are they just dialing it in? They're not really engaged. How do you bring that more to life? And there's a lot of just awareness, social emotional awareness pieces that need to go into an effective interview, effective networking, and that sort of thing. So that's just the start of, I could go on the entire hour about the importance of this, but I want to just plant that for you and see what lands for you on that. And if it's helpful in ways that you would like to explore that for yourself in different situations, I invite you to share.
Fantastic. Thanks, Dr. Medlock. And we'll just get rolling with it right now. For more, if you want a deeper dive in emotional intelligence, there is a training tomorrow night that one of our colleagues is hosting. So we'll make sure to get that into the chat now to all of you. That'll answer a lot of your questions around that. But for your career, how can we serve you today? What are the questions that you have on your heart? What are you working on? And you can come off mute and talk with us one-on-one that way, or type your questions into the chat or comments.
And I will add that we've really been discussing on our Career Wednesdays the balance between having an open forum where we're streaming live and we've got a lot of people coming in versus sometimes people want to have more private conversations or more personal because you're sharing oftentimes vulnerable things related to your career. So we appreciate that. We do split the hour. So the first half hour is kind of open-ended to questions you might have, things you want to explore. Maybe not getting into the specifics of any particular situation, but you're welcome to if you'd like. But just letting you know that we're creating that sort of structure for that. So, but we do invite you to explore it, and in any way we can support you right now, we're here.
Thank you, Dr. Medlock. Sergey, welcome. How can we support you today?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Actually, yes, you can, because I had a very interesting conversation. It was something like a job interview with consultant company. And my question is, how should I answer question about salary expectations?
Yep, totally.
About what expectations?
Because salary expectations.
Salary expectations.
Yes, for sure. I have my baseline. It's how much I earn now. But on the new place, maybe I could get more. So what should I do? It's something like a sale, but okay.
So Sergey,
totally. And Sergey, I got to check something out. Are you calling in from Sofia?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. My wife and I were there a few years ago and loved it. That's so cool. And so you're a product manager?
Yes.
Okay.
So let me speak to one point on this one, GD, just to kind of get us going. Salary negotiations up front are a dangerous topic. So, because what they're wanting to know, they're looking for a way to rule you out. Are you in or out? Are you going to, so the name of the game is the person who first declares the range or the salary expectation loses. The person who doesn't tends to have more control. So, but what you want to say at this point, you want to talk salary once they've fallen in love with you, because until then, there's no point in it because they're just looking at a way to rule you out. So, so what you want to say is something like, it really is going to depend on, something kind of broad about whatever, I'm sure you have a range in mind for this position, and it looks like it's appropriate for the kind of thing I'm looking for. But I prefer to talk about salary once we get a really clear sense of the job and expectations, and I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. And if they keep pushing back, then you can give them a range based on what you're prepared to, something that clearly, if it were below that, you would not take it, and also showing flexibility. So we all have our own subjective number of, I'll take a job at this level, but not below this, or this hourly rate, but not below that. So you can respect that, and then just sort of give yourself some room to negotiate. But don't lower your expectations just to answer that question. Just keep yourself in a range that feels appropriate, because truthfully, if it's too low, you're not going to be interested. So just kind of use your judgment on that. But basically, the salary conversation is best had once you guys have really agreed on what the job is and what your skill sets are and how good the match is.
So Sergey, I want to know how that sounds and set some context for everybody, as we've got a lot of people joining. Love how you're jumping in, Sergey. Already, Gina is saying, yes, great question. I'm wondering the same thing. So that's what we do here, is we listen to what people are saying in the coaching that they're getting on this, and we're applying it to ourselves, learning vicariously. So thank you, Sergey, for jumping in. And what are your response? What's your response to Dr. Medlock's feedback?
Thank you very much, Doctor. It was a really good answer, but Yes, I have my own baseline. It's a figure. Okay, it's good for me, and I will never go down this one.
Fine.
But it's mostly about how to set right higher price.
Right.
How to if we are talking about salary ranges, it differs between companies, between positions, companies in different industries.
Sure.
So
So let me ask you, Sergey, do you know the range? I mean, you're in a particular job role. Do you know the general range for your position right now, what the market is paying?
Actually, no, I don't, because we do not have this. Okay, problem is I've moved to Sofia less than a year ago, and I'm not familiar with this market.
I see.
And there's just not so much data on Glassdoor, on other open sources, and sure, I have done my homework. I'm product manager. I tried to make some research, but I failed because of lack of data.
Well, you know, I know that there are databases that have this information. It's been a while since I've been looking at that, so I can't tell you right off the top, but I know there's data out there for every profession. You can look at, probably US government has ranges for different positions on their website, because they're more disclosing about those kind of things. But oftentimes private industry is a little bit more, a little bit better in terms of pay. So, but that information is out there. Also, if you have a recruiter you're working with, or can find a recruiter to talk about the salary range for your position, that would be helpful. And then you want to look at the markets and the type of company and their own resources. So the more you can learn about the companies you want to work for, the more you can kind of get the ranges that are going to be specific. But I'm sorry, I don't have right now a database that would be reliable, but they are out there. They are out there. You do not need to, you can find it. So I apply your research skills to looking for databases of salaries in your particular position. Google will have data on it, I guarantee you, and sources to look at. So let us know what you find, okay?
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Thank you both. And Dr. Medlik, I'm curious about your thoughts about this is not the first round interview, but as it becomes clearer that a company is interested in you, to then be getting into more of the nitty gritty with them about what the responsibilities are, what your expectations are for that. I don't know kind of globally speaking, but I know when I've worked with people that, you know, sometimes they'll say, this is what I want from here. And the company will say, well, that's more than, you know, we had in mind, yet we want you. And so but that might be at kind of a different point in the process.
Oh, but that's a great question. You remember one of the people we had on our call who settled for a lower number because he enjoyed the work, and he kept getting raises because as soon as they realized how many talents he had, the abilities he had. So basically, when you're in a job, the way you get a pay raise is you demonstrate the economic benefit that you're providing the company. And you know, it can be a no-brainer. In fact, sometimes it can be so clear that if they refuse to pay you that, you got to leave, because that's an insult. So, but it's usually an economic argument that you need to develop. So, you know your skill set, you know the difference you make, you know how you've saved companies money, you'll be able to frame it in those terms.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
You brought up a good point, Dr. Medlock, but generally when you start a new job, they have you in a, you know, like a 3-month to 6-month, I don't want to say test period or probationary period. And it's very difficult sometimes for somebody to leverage that tool or leverage that. I mean, because it takes a while to show that, hey, you know, within a few months, you know, you have to stick it out for a good 3 months to, you know, at least I mean, that's pushing it really hard to, you know, to do a project and to show that you're going to agree, you're going to, you know, save them X number of dollars.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I'm just trying to leverage, you know, I think what I guess the question is, you know, is when you're in that preliminary interview, how do you leverage, you know, up front before having to sit in a job that you don't, you know, you just, I hate to say settle for taking a lower pay cut, because that's what I'm finding. You know, I think ageism has a part to play in my situation here. I'm having to take pay cut.
Are you too young? Are you too young for the jobs? Is that what you're saying?
I was too young for the job, but a lot of times they don't want to pay what seasoned, experienced professionals, they don't want to pay them when you're seasoned and experienced. They want to pay.
Here's the thing about that, Gina, is they're really, I've come up against this a lot, and there are really two kinds of companies, those that value experience and those that don't want to have to pay for it. If you've got one that doesn't want to have to pay for it, don't work there.
I know.
You need to find the ones that do. Pardon me?
It's very frustrating. I mean, because you know, you see all these companies and you're, you know, I can see from all the blogs and all the comments from LinkedIn, these companies are not responding. You can submit, I've submitted 12 applications to one company, which I know is a very good company that hires talent, and they don't respond. So, and this is not just that one company, it's various companies. People are either being ghosted, or you get the, you know, like yesterday, I got a preliminary call from a company, and, you know, they wanted to talk salary right away. So it's kind of like they got you between a rock and a hard place.
So here's the thing, Gina, the more senior you are, the less you want to be doing in the published job market. Because you're playing, that's a game of numbers. That's a game of how can we pay as little as possible to get what we want. It's throwing
Networking doesn't work. Networking does not work. I've helped people get jobs in LinkedIn through networking, but it's never reciprocated. And so this is kind of.
What do you make of that, Gina?
What do I make of that? I don't know.
I think that's something to explore. That strikes me as significant.
What is there to explore? I'm not going to go knock on why, you know, I
think what George Donald says is if you've been a net giver in your networking, typically people feel generous toward you and want to support you. So, you know, if that's what's happening, that would be a natural thing. If that's not happening, but you're saying that you've helped a lot of people find jobs through networking.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've done, you know, because I know what it's like to be on the other end. Now I'm on the other side. But long story short, it's this discussion of pay. Like, how do you get it without having to take a job that's a significant pay cut, and have to hold, you know, move up the ladder real fast. It's difficult. So
tell us, Gina, what is it you're really, if you could find your ideal job, what is it you're really looking for? What would make you feel like, wow, this is really what I've been wanting?
At this point, I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused, but continue on with the discussion because I'm learning a lot. I don't want to hijack the discussion like I did last week.
But this question is really important because in the absence of that, the flood of negativity will dominate you. So you have to have a clear vision of what you're orienting to is essential to then how even you will present in interviews. So being clear about that is really important. So I encourage you. This is a perfect place to talk about that if you'd like.
Let me think about this.
Okay.
Cool. We'll circle back. Thank you, Gina.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Eric, I see you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm not going to come off video because I just got back from a run, so I don't think you want to see me all.
Oh my gosh, I've never seen a sweaty runner before. I'd be so offended, I tell you.
But anyway, it's funny because a lot of like coming back to my last job search, just bringing back, and honestly, what I found was I usually, because a lot of times, honestly, they like you, at least when I was doing last job search, and even when I was getting some offers from people after I'd just been employed, or not offers, but reach outs after just being employed, they generally want to know salary up front. Like they will not let you continue on. And so usually I just I go a bit high and, maybe 20, 30% plus above what I'm looking to get. So then if they come in lower, it's still at least a net above. And then at that point, usually I see, okay, either I'm applying for something that's maybe a bit too low for what I am, or they're not serious and I'm not going to waste my time. And I can definitely appreciate like, the ghosting. And it's honestly, nowadays, it seems like it's really just a numbers game, where you put out what you can. And then, ideally you get into a situation where you have multiple offers that you can leverage against each other, almost kind of like, you have a house that you're selling, right? You want to have multiple buyers that you can then leverage and say, oh, well, I have somebody who's going to pay this amount, but this person's also going to pay this amount. So but it's definitely, I can understand, appreciate that, Gina, like as someone who just came off a job search a little over a year ago, or just under a year ago, it's frustrating, and I'm not as gracefully young as you are, but I still encounter, in my case, I had the chicken versus the egg, where I wanted to go in production planning. Well, we want someone who has planning experience. Well, how am I supposed to get that if you don't give it to me, right? So, but it's honestly a numbers game, and for salary, I usually, if they're going to force me in the open, I go high, and they can work their way down from that range, or they're not serious, and I'm not wasting my time on them. So,
Beautiful,
just my
Eric.
thoughts on that.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Eric. Really nice.
Matt, good to see you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Good to see you
Yeah,
here.
thanks.
I want to stay with this conversation we're having on the salary piece, because I really feel like the real question is when you talked about selling your house or something like that. And it's really, what are you worth? What's the value of your skills in the marketplace? And having a good sense of what that is. I often mention this book. What is it that you're so good at that they can't afford to fire you for? What's the skill set that you have that is really will command attention in the workplace? That's the thing to focus on, because that's what they're looking for. And you got to find the company that really is looking for what you have and that can see the value of that. And you have to be articulate about what that is and the economic value of that to the company, because once you've made that connection, the salary conversation flows. But they need to decide that you're it first before they're going to have that conversation. So you need to decide you're it and let them know what the skill set is, and in a way that's compelling, and have that reflected in your resume, in your narrative, and what you're currently doing now. If you're in a search and if you're just kind of looking for a job but not getting any traction, finding a place to volunteer in what you really love to do, so you have a story to tell about what you're moving toward. It's all about forward momentum that you bring to the conversation. When you've got a bunch of people who aren't responding, you got to drive it. That's the reality of a job search. So it's a big challenge, but I just wanted to underscore that I think that's really, the substantive conversation that's going to make the difference.
Thank you, Dr. Medlock. And how scary and painful that is. Like, to be in a spot where your job is getting a job, and how challenging that can freaking be.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is one of the reasons we started doing this, just to have people be together who are in this process. When pandemic happened, and tons of people in the entertainment and service industry were joining in at that time, because they had nothing, and there wasn't going to be anything for them for a while. And it's a really scary thing that it connecting helps to maintain a mindset of growth and possibilities, because it's a significant challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, George Don. It's an important perspective. Yeah.
Well, so again, this is Career Lab Wednesday. We invite people into the Zoom, which many of you are on. From here, you're welcome to jump in, ask questions, share. If you're unable to make it into the Zoom meeting, then you can type your questions into the comment section, and Jane Coletto will get those over. The comment section on my LinkedIn page, that is.
Hey, JD, if you have, so I've recently gone through this process where basically my company folded during COVID. And then I went and then ended up doing consulting, and now I've landed a full-time job. But in my new full-time job, we've just reorganized, and we have like 10 opens. We're trying to hire aggressively. It's not that easy to find people despite the fact that, you know, especially, you know, I'm looking for senior level analytics specialist salespeople. Yeah, with either healthcare background or manufacturing background, you know, so it's a specific thing. But any advice in this marketplace? I haven't really been on the other side of this where I'm trying to hire, you know, we're trying to get a bunch of people on board. This market seems weird. Most of the people I've linked into that were qualified had multiple job offers already. So, or, you know, or were happy where they were. Anyway,
I'm
any
so
thoughts
glad
on
you're
that
jumping in
side?
with this.
Mm.
Yeah, this is, so that's interesting. So you're having a really hard time getting people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Get-
Yeah,
getting the-
especially in the tech sector, it's very, yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody has a job and, yeah.
I would like to get in on the conversation
Mhm.
because there's a lot of untapped talent that might be right up under your nose that people are not really consistently looking at. Sometimes they might not fit the way, all the way and have all the attributes that you might want. But there are some that are able to probably come in and make some positive changes in the organization. But an old adage that my father always told me, he said, if you go into a pond and you're catching a certain kind of fish all the time, you get crappies, you catch crappies, you might want to go to another pond and see what you can catch some other kind of fish. There's resource, I don't know what city that you're in, but there might be some resources or some other people that you not accustomed to contacting that you might want to reach out to see if they have people that can fit in.
Thank you, Dr. How do I say your name? Imhotep?
Imhotep.
Imhotep.
Yes.
Thank you. And Matt, I'm curious, what have you tried so far?
Well, all I've done is put the postings on LinkedIn. I'm not the hiring manager, just to be clear, it's my team. So
Yeah.
I'm currently on a team that's supposed to be 12 people and I'm the only person on it.
Well, do you have an internal recruiter that's helping you with this?
Yeah, we have internal recruiters and, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. I'm just observing that, you know, they want to fill these positions fast and it's not happening very fast from my perspective. And I was just thought, hey, I'm trying to do what the previous guy just said. It's like, well, this is a different pond than I usually go in. And maybe I'll see if there's any other ideas or, you know, thoughts on how people are hiring today that's different than when I was doing it more regularly years
They
ago.
sound like fairly senior level positions, or at least high importance positions. That if you,
Yeah, we're looking for executive, like I'm a former managing director at UBS. So we're looking for sort of senior level people that can bring some gravitas to whatever industry that they're in. Yeah.
So those searches are not uncommon, 6 to 9 months to even longer sometimes, because the cost of a bad hire is really high at that level.
Yeah.
So you really got to find it. So it's really a matter of really having good search criteria and people really aggressively looking for the talent, because sometimes you have to lure it away from some other place, if that's reality. But yeah, finding the right talent and staffing a team like that at a high performance level is really a big challenge. So I'm glad to see you kind of taking an interest in it and trying to make it happen. So
Yeah, I think way to go on checking out this pond. And maybe other people in here might have ideas of other ponds to check out, because I'm sort of at a loss with this one. I know that some of the things that
JD, I'm just remembering a friend of mine, Gary Erickson, who has a tech recruiting firm. He joined our group one time, He handles primarily high-level executives in the tech sector. If you, Matt, if you want to send me your information about your company and what you're looking for, I'll forward that to him and see if he has some thoughts about it. Because he's a guy who really specializes in that area. It just occurred to me that could be a really good fit for you.
Okay,
I'll put my
I'll
contact
forward it.
information in the chat so you got it, okay?
okay.
Matt, even though I'm a Lean Six Sigma green belt, I mean, would your company want to consider, I know a colleague of mine who was also let off, but he's a master black belt. And
Sorry, project manager?
Pardon me?
This is sort of black belt in project management, you're saying?
He's got
Or process?
process improvement, and they're very heavy in analytics. So, and they came, we come from the Joint Commission. I mean, that's kind of like.
Yeah, I sent you my email in the chat.
Okay.
Just email me and we'll talk offline.
Okay.
That'd be
And
fun.
by the way, you've got people on LinkedIn Live relating. Same here, Matt, I'm relating. We just had 2 people resign from Edwin.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of people sharing about hiring being difficult and the whole job market being weird.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I also want to just name that what just happened is what the magic of this meeting is Gina just connected with Matt as a possible opportunity. And Matt just connected with me as a possible opportunity for helping him staff stuff. So that's what we want to have happen here, to be able to use this as a networking opportunity for you to make connections and help and support each other. So good work,
Yes.
both of you.
And Dr. Imhotep pointing out an overarching strategy of checking out different places.
Yeah.
And I want to underline something that I just witnessed, Dr. Medlock. So Matt shared, you didn't even think of that connection. It took a while to simmer. And this is one of the things that we'll talk about is when you're networking, to give the person, if you're asking for something, an introduction or something, or if they know of anybody they can introduce you to, sometimes it helps to say, like Matt would have said, okay, great. Thanks everybody. I'll circle back. Just keep me in mind and my need in mind, and just let that, and I'll check back with you and see if anything came to mind for you. Because I know that when I'm asked directly, a lot of times my unconscious mind or whatever has to kind of let things sink in. And it might be a few days and I'll have a thought of like, oh yeah, I should totally introduce so-and-so. So just know that that's something that often kind of happens in this networking process.
Yeah. And also what's important, Matt, and what you shared, you gave me the language of an executive tech person that you're looking for in these particular industries. Without that information, I don't make the connection. So the more explicit you are as a hiring manager about what you're looking for, or if you're in the market, the more you're talking explicitly about what you're looking for. Like Gina, you mentioned your Six Sigma background and your Joint Commission background. Those become things that if somebody does click, it gives them a leverage point in. So be sure to include those kind of things in the conversation you're having, because you never know what's going to actually resonate with somebody. So, well,
Cool, thanks.
GD, I'm going to need, as I mentioned, I'm going to have to jump off today. I've got a tight deadline on a project I'm working on, but it's as always a privilege to work with you guys. And I look forward to if you guys go to the small group or the more private conversation, having some good conversations come out of that. So, but thank you all for me. I'm sorry to have to leave right now, but I'll be back.
Fantastic. Dr. Medlock, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for joining and for your expertise.
Thank you so much, GD.
So, hey, hello, Elle, good
Hi,
to see
everyone.
you.
My name is Yeah, good to see you too. I just really want to pick y'all's brain about life insurance. I really am interested in getting into that. I hear that you can use that revenue stream for many things that will probably end up saving you a lot of money. Does anyone on this call know about life insurance? You can give
As
me
a career
some
path?
gain of insight.
As a
No,
career
just
path?
as like, yeah, like more of as in like an investment.
I don't quite follow. I know several people who work in life insurance and have created very successful businesses for themselves. But in terms of an investment, maybe you would be finding somebody. But what does everybody else think?
I mean, are you just asking whether you should buy a whole life policy and use it and view your life insurance as an investment?
Yeah, I mean, so what I've heard about it is that people will typically get life insurance and you can actually use the money and it's like tax free to, like, let's say you want to buy like real estate or buy some sort of investment property or whatever it is, and it's actually what a lot of people are doing that have a lot of money. So just seeing if you guys know about that. If not, totally fine, I can just do more research about, but I figured it'd be like the easiest way to go about it is kind of picking people's brains that maybe know
Here's a
about it.
summary. If you have a lot of money, it's a good orthogonal asset that you can, and it can be used. But if you're, don't come from a lot of wealth or something, you're going to do better off just investing in normal equities and investing your money that way, using tax deferred things like IRAs or 401ks to get the tax benefit. But it gets, if you're young, you can accumulate some money in it, but it's not going to accumulate super fast. And there's annoying regulations about buying houses with life insurance money. So it's possible, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Got it.
Pay into it as well. I mean,
Okay.
you have to put equity into it. So
Yeah, you're just putting all the money into it anyway, and you're getting an insurance policy, but it's not, it doesn't work out to be a great deal. I mean, listen to Dave Ramsey or somebody like that talk to you about whole life insurance.
Have you heard of
radio
Patrick?
personality.
You're
Have you
better
heard of
off-
Patrick Bet David by any chance, Ellie?
No, I haven't.
He's part of Valuetainment and multimillionaire, sells insurance, knows quite a bit about it. And there's another book, I forget the author, Becoming Your Own Banker. And since you're young, you literally can become your own banker using your own insurance policy. That's what people talk about. That's where it can be lucrative. That way, for instance, if you want to go get a loan on a car, the same insurance companies are doing the same thing. But if you have your own insurance policy, you can take out money on your own insurance policy. And then you pay back your own interest to yourself and even more. And so when you're young, it can really build up over years. And some people literally make a lot of money doing this. It can be lucrative.
What was his name?
Patrick Bet David.
Patrick Bet David.
Valuetainment. And the other book was called Becoming Your Own Banker. That was one of the books that started the quote unquote movement. And now you have individual universal life insurance policies. And some of these are based off of not the stock market itself, but the indexes in the stock market. So they're more safer than just going off of stocks, especially when you're young.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes, and
Yeah, I am
Ellie,
super
there's
excited.
a-
I'm definitely
there's a message from Edwin Moreno. It can be an investment vehicle, and I wouldn't use it as a primary investment vehicle. And
yeah.
Right.
do you know Edwin by chance?
No, I don't.
If you
But
look through the context
I
in
am
the-
already.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, you're already doing that.
Yeah, I'm actually already doing the Roth IRA, but I'm like, I'm trying to kind of, get a little bit into everything. Like as I'm younger now, I just feel like it's the best route to go. Is kind of setting myself up for success. So I've heard a lot about life insurance and I just want to learn more about it. I'm definitely going to look into becoming your own banker, and Valuetainment is what you said. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
And Nelson
great.
Nash was the author of Becoming Your Own Banker.
Just a warning, the life insurance industry and the insurance industry in general, is like the #1 spender on advertisement and marketing, which means like pretty much every insurance policy or insurance product you buy, you're paying for, a lot of what you're paying for is advertisement dollars. So it's just, just always be aware of that with insurance products.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't get into it to like start a business. It's more of just like I would just get my own life insurance and then
No, I'm just
like
saying the
see what I
value
can
of what
do
you're
with it.
getting, the value that you're getting
Yeah.
from the insurance policy, a lot of what they have to charge is to cover all the advertising and marketing costs. So you have to be careful on making sure you're getting value out of what they're actually selling you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So again, everybody, this is Career Lab Wednesday. We're touching
Yes.
everything from emotions in the workplace to how to negotiate salary, then also how to hire, how to find the people you want, and also getting into investment. So we invite all career-related questions, and you can jump in through the Zoom meeting of many of you are doing today, or type your comments and questions into the comment section in LinkedIn. Sometimes we've been jumping or stopping the live stream. If people have questions, specific things that you're working on that maybe you don't want streamed on LinkedIn Live, let us know, let me know, and Jane Coletto and I will stop the stream. Otherwise, we'll just keep going here on LinkedIn Live. But if that's something that you're interested in us turning off the stream, do let us know.
George,
So
I
what-
want to get in.
Yes, hey.
I wanted to jump into this. I'm a recent graduate, just 3 months ago, completed my dissertation for a PhD in business administration.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm 61 years old, but I'm
Go
looking
60s.
to enter into academia.
Uh-huh.
I worked in with human resources and human resource management background, done a lot of work in the city as an activist. But in my winding down years, I would prefer probably just to sit up on a campus and teach, because I know I have a lot of experience and I've seen a lot of things, and just to enter into the workforce in academia at my age, I'm not looking for tenure or anything like that, but still, I would like to see if someone has any avenues or doors that might be open where they're looking for someone with a background in business administration and also public administration.
Does anybody have any knowledge on this? I can share some, Dr. Imhotep. I know there may be opportunities. I remember when I was in school back in the early 2000s, I remember one of my professors said, this is only going to get harder for college professors, university professors. He was like, we have it too good. We have a significant amount of time, paid leave. We have the whole summer off. We really only work 4 to 6 hours a day, and TAs do all the grading. And he was like, this is not going to last.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because I haven't really been in academia. Dr. Gordon Medlock might know a little more, but my guess is that it's a pretty hard, pretty narrow spot you're going for. But I don't, I'm kind of be interested to hear from other people.
Hello, so this is Floor. I am actually in the education world, but my role is mainly with community outreach. Right now, I would look into, well, my first question to you would be, what grades is it that you want to serve? Is it college level, K through 12? Because there's a few universities
Yeah.
around here that are hiring, but as well as schools that are K through 12 education.
Well, K through 12, I would have a problem with, with that. I prefer students that's paying money to learn instead of
Okay.
kids that are forced to do something, you know.
I would look into Ivy Tech, community college, and I know the stigma between community college may be not as great as we would like it as a society, but it is a very great university. Well, college, I should say. There's about 20 campuses in the state of Indiana. Now, I don't know what state you're in,
I'm in
but it
Iowa.
is a very fast-paced in Ohio. Oh, I don't know that. I'm sorry. Maybe
Iowa.
someone else
I'm
can
in
help.
Iowa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're not too far apart.
Not at all.
So, but the overall strategy is, it sounds like you named it earlier, is checking out the ponds. And what areas haven't you looked that you might be able to get an introduction, and you may need to. We did have somebody who started volunteering at with an organization that ended up being his pathway into working in academia. You may, look for what adjunct positions are available.
Yeah.
I know you'll need your resume of projects you've done, things you've done, and what you're currently doing will be very important.
Yeah. One thing for sure, I've taught in academia already at the community college.
Okay.
Here in Iowa at Hawkeye Community College, which is in Waterloo, and I live in Des Moines. And that's it was a 4-hour commute I was doing for about 3 years. And I said, time out on that, commuting a 4-hour drive on a regular basis.
What did they have any suggestions for you, or what are your connections like there?
I went on and started looking in at one of the local community colleges here in Des Moines, here at Community College, and also we have Grandview and Drake University. Iowa State is right in Ames, Iowa, a little bit north, maybe a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
But I'm keeping my eyes and ears open and try my best to network with as many people who might have access or some insight on what's going on. And one thing that even affects me to a sense, because here in Iowa, the state legislature banded diversive teaching and critical race theory. They don't want to touch it here in this state. And I'm a critical race theorist living in Iowa. So in a homogenized state, really, I might have to, I was thinking about even commuting or relocating, one or the other.
Yeah. That from what you're describing, it just sounds like a significant challenge.
Yeah.
I have some ideas. One thing that comes up when I was in graduate school, one of the things I would do is watch YouTube videos from different professors who would synchronize really cool things. I remember this one guy syncing up human development and existentialism. Mm-hmm. And I was just blown away by it. I ended up watching the 20-minute video. I'll probably watch it in a month, just to go back and get a refresher on it. But I did a lot of that as a way to kind of start getting myself into the books that I would then be reading, but to hear things, because I'm a visual and auditorial learner, however you say that, more than I am reading. And so I don't know, there might be, there might be some stuff for you to play with in terms of technology and providing services that might not be a money maker, but it could be something that would help you with connecting. So I don't know. I just thought I'd share that.
Okay.
Because I did end up using a lot of videos.
What about government grants and looking into government on critical race theory? If you look up the USA Gov website and look into the grants, different colleges, and I'm thinking more New York, California, Chicago, states like that, they're pretty big into that arena, and that's usually where the funding arrives or goes to, and they can be very lucrative contracts, and they need people to run those contracts. And so you could put together a collaboration project with other professors, teachers, students, and you can get some good lucrative money out of that whole aspect.
Thank you, Joe.
Definitely. Great
Thank
luck.
you. So there's a question about ageism and combating that in the hiring process. And on one hand, I've worked with people in that, but it's also, I kind of just want to hear from all of you about what you think about that and what you're doing. If anybody would like to share.
This is Gina. This is something that I'm facing. I believe I am. I'm 52, and I'm finding that their companies are more interested in hiring people that are younger because they don't have to pay someone that's seasoned, who's experienced, that they don't have to worry about, okay, well, she might have 15 more years in the workforce, and you know what, benefits are going to cost me more because she's, this person's getting up in age, it's that. And, it's people, might say, oh, no, it's because your position is too high up, it's taking you longer. I believe that could be a factor in the mix, but this is becoming more prevalent because I have other friends in my age group that are facing the same thing. They don't want to hire somebody.
So for a company, it's just from their perspective, it's just not worth it to hire you.
Yeah, you're too expensive, and plus now I've got to worry about benefits, and benefits are part of the package when you're hiring somebody. They got to worry about somebody coming in that, they this is how I think, and maybe I'm warped. They want someone that can come in that they can mold, and you can still mold me, but they want someone that can come in and mold. It's fresh out, fresh and from the pond or whatever, and that person's going to jump through the hoops more so than somebody that is more seasoned and experienced. There's, knowing that the individuals younger than I are going to probably stay at that role for 1 to 2 years and then move on. I don't grasp the mentality of it.
Do other people have that experience?
I have as well, but it also affects the leadership and the culture of an organization. Because if you have talent that they might not have and it's needed, you can work in there 5 or 10 years as a plus for that organization. But some of them don't look at it that way. And most are more concerned about profit maximization than someone's tenure, because you look just like your product. You're an individual that's selling your labor, and they want, as you stated, to get someone younger that they can hold on occasion. And I'm not down in young folks by no means, because even though I'm 61, I think I'm 16 in my brain, but I know I'm not.
You know,
I feel 16 there, but no, not my
I
body.
think it is a lot of changes are happening. You know, if we look at, you know, my parents, and people were in a spot where they would have the same career their entire life.
Yeah,
And I'm working with people now who are, you know, at 35, they've already had more jobs than I've ever had. And I think that that's a thing that will probably, in a lot of ways, continue. And, you know, whether or not it seems like it, I think that this country, as well as Europe, is going to be battling over having new citizens, because our workforce is, even though our growth rate's still on the up overall, we have more and more people who are not in the workforce. So I think the whole industry is trying to figure it out. But even people that I'm working with in their mid 20s to early 30s are really looking at company culture and not wanting a company that's going to just tell them what to do, but a company that is going to facilitate them learning and growing, and some companies talk a good game and say that, like, you know, they want to help the individual grow. And I don't know that everybody does that, but when a company puts that on their mission statement, if you know their mission statement and you can speak to that can hold a lot of power in the interview process. And so you know, these are just things I'm observing, but I think probably ageism, racism, and all kinds of things are things that we're you know.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think a lot of corporations go the other route. I think they'd rather have the Ginas. I really do, because the young ones have more of a tendency to move on.
That's what I think, Joel. That's what I think, because you see that, you know, I saw it in my two former roles that I was there. It was like a revolving door. They're in there. I've seen people leave within 6 months, and then they got to fill, and that's expensive for a company to have to do. And the mentality I don't get. Why do they do that? Hop along from one place to the next. And I'm like, how I was brought up, that's like suicide to your career. That's suicide on your resume to see 10 different jobs. Well, why did you hop and skip, you know?
But apparently it's not.
That's something, to me, that's something, as a former registered nurse, I used to do that when I used to be a travel nurse. Every 3 months, you hop around to a different hospital in a different part of the nation, wherever you wanted to go. That is out of the norm. That's an outlier, that career in that manner. But what I'm seeing is, like, why would you want to invest in somebody for a year knowing that they're going to up and leave, and you're going to have to, again, cast those nets out again, reel in all the people, pick one.
So why do you think they would?
I don't know. Probably cheap labor. I don't know. I'm having all this, I'm thinking of all the different things. They don't have to pay a seasoned employee or a seasoned professional that has so many years of experience in that role or in that realm. And they can just, you know, yes, some places want to tell you exactly what to do. Some want you to figure out on your own, but I don't know. I wish I can tell you. That's my thinking. They don't want to pay. They don't want, and I'm seeing it now too. They, you know, I've been lowballed offers even for the experience that I do have. It's just frustrating.
It's very frustrating and painful.
Is it because I'm a woman? I don't know. All this is going through my head. So this is why you said, oh, it's not that I'm negative. It's just, this is becoming like a brick wall that you continually run into, and it's like you have to take a step back and think what the heck is going on, because this is abnormal. They can't ask you what your age is, but on the application they can ask you when did you graduate, stuff like that. They see it and it's like it makes you think that, is this one of the reasons why you're cast out, when you know that you can do every single thing, every bullet point that they're looking for? You're the perfect match. Just throwing it out there. I'm interested to hear if.
Well, we have to wrap here soon. I'll go back to the two things that from interviewing, what is looked for is, does the person get shit done? And do I want to work with them? And that second one, is this somebody that I want to work alongside? Even if you can't say that, you're not going to say, oh, I didn't want to work with you. That's an HR violation, but that's there. And that can play a pretty significant part in people's decisions, whether or not they're conscious of it. And I think that, that whether or not people are aware of that, that is one of the two factors that I've observed in people's hiring decisions.
I got somebody coming for it.
So thank you everybody for your engagement and for connecting and for sharing vulnerably. This is, in the job of getting a job is probably one of the hardest things. And so connecting and getting support on that is really important. And so thanks everybody. We will be back next week from noon to 1 p.m. Central, and keep reaching out. Thanks. I saw a bunch of activity here, so I haven't read everything in the comments section and in the chats, but thank you for your engagement, and reach out in between. Reminder, tomorrow evening on emotional intelligence, check that out. Dr. Lisa Sandin is going to be hosting that. She's fantastic. She was my coach years ago. So I've got a special place in my heart for her. So check that out, and look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, JD.